Nation and mining family, what's going on? What up, what up, what up? All you happy hashers. It is another State of Economics 101 coming right at you guys. So, I'm going to hit this one off real hard, right off the top, guys. As you guys are sliding on in, of course, smash that lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Share this out on your favorite socials so that more of you awesome people know that I'm going live. You'll be the notification, guys. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit you guys hard. And just ask you a simple question. Do you guys know the 6 characteristics of what money is? Not fiat, but money. 6 characteristics of what money is. Does anybody know? I mean, most people know some of them, but not all of them. Not everybody knows all of them. Anybody out there know the 6 things that money has to be able to have in order to be considered money? This is the good, the bad, and the ugly about money, guys. I mean, this is basically what it is, right? It's like, yo, John Jermaine, seen better days. Yeah, I feels you on that one. I totally feels you on that one. John Jermaine, do you happen to know the 6 characteristics of what money is? I mean, anybody out there, any one of you guys, as you're sliding in there, do you know what the 6 without Googling it, do you just know it off the top of your head, the 6 characteristics? If not, it's okay. I know it's a pop quiz. Pop quiz in the middle of the week. Who does that? God. Does anybody know? It's like, doesn't seem like anybody, either not too many people are talkative or you guys are just unsure without Googling it. That's fine. So basically the 6 characteristics of money, you guys, I'll let you know right here, right meow. It's got to be divisible. It's got to be portable. It's got to be acceptable. It's got to be scarce. It's got to be durable and stable in value. Well, gold has that, right? We all know gold has that. I can sit there and I can chop up gold into smaller little pieces. I can put some gold in my pocket. It's acceptable in a lot of places, and I can exchange it for local currency. So there are places that will accept that pieces of gold, and give you cash for it. It's got to be scarce. Well, for the most part, whatever is on the planet is all that's ever going to be here. You're not generating any new. Durable. The gold that was around during the Egyptian era is still around today. I call that a win for durability. And stable in value. For the most part, an ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. Where we see the fluctuation of the value on it is how badly are we depegging our fiat currencies from this. So our fiat currencies, yes, they're divisible. Yep, we could check that one off. It's portable. Yep, we could check that one off. It's acceptable. Yep, people do accept fiat currency, right? Scarce? No. Durable? Hey man, how many times can you wash a dollar bill before it just disintegrates? It's cloth at the end of the day. Coins might last a little bit longer, but durable? No. And then stable in value. Again, no, because it's not scarce. They are inflating it faster than the value can actually sustain. So you're missing out the ability to store your wealth in it. It's a horrible median of exchange with them in printing it at will. And that printing it at will makes it to where you don't want to hold on to it because you're losing money with the hidden tax of inflation. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that makes it to where fiat currency, this little tusk that we've been on since 1971 when Nixon took us off the remainder of what the Bretton Woods system was, which is a basket of metals, since they had already depegged itself from the gold standard years beforehand because they wanted to do out of control money printing, and they've been doing that since basically, 1913 when the Federal Reserve Act was enacted. They started running deficits. Yep. Fixing a rig that suddenly stopped working. No, I hate when that happens, Rude. I hate when that happens. So, our money's going to hell in a handbasket. There are more countries that are jumping off they're de-dollarizing themselves and partnering up with the BRICS system, or Brexit, or however BRICS. All I know is it's basically going in partnership with Asia. They're basically dropping the US dollars for the yuan. Yuan's not doing all that good either because they are also money printers on the backside. They just think that their economy can handle it. We'll see how that little test of theirs will go long term. But let's go ahead. Since we got the definition of what money is, let's kind of ease our way into some of the things that knowledge is going to basically apply to when we start talking about oil production. So before we get into the oil production side of it, let's go ahead and take a look at markets, guys. So the S&P 500 about 0.5% down, NASDAQ 100 almost 0.9% down. The US dollar is almost like almost 0.75% down. The dollar dominance since the beginning of this year has been slowly dropping, guys. Slowly. At the beginning of the year, this dollar system was more closer to that 104. We are not at 101.5. So we are slowly dropping our dollar standard in pricing. The Dow Jones is basically flatlining. It's pretty stable. Dow Jones is a pretty big amount of industrial companies that perform very well because they're producing physical products. Anytime that you can produce a physical product, no matter what happens, you are more stable than 90% of the markets out there as long as you are producing a product that people want. Simple economics right there. Russell 2000, this is a lot of your tech funds and stuff like that, taking a little bit of a hit right along with the dollar on there, because these are some of the places where you'll see when markets pull back, you'll see the tech sector pull back a little bit harder, a little faster sometimes. It depends. Apple stock pulling back slightly. AMD still taking a pullback on everything. Even though it's starting to come out that the AMD GPUs are doing better than NVIDIA. Just saying, right? Amazon pulling back still. People are now, going back to their normal shopping habits. People like to put their hands on things when they buy it. They don't want to buy it and find out it's the wrong thing and have to ship it back. And yeah, it's a big old hassle. People rather not do that. Tesla's still taking a pullback bloodbath. And some of this is the fact that Tesla has crypto on the books. If crypto wasn't there, Tesla would probably have pulled back even harder. So keep that in mind too. Netflix, Go Woke, Go Broke campaign still negatively hurting them. Meta platforms flatlining. Crypto market cap pull back a little bit. Bitcoin slid just slightly under that $30,000 marker, guys. Ethereum still doing pretty good for right now. I think a bunch of people are getting excited over them allowing for the rewards on the nodes to be pulled off the nodes. So I think it's like 2 Ethereum per node will be able to be spent. Um, it'll take it'll take over the course of 5 days for that to happen. So people are probably getting excited over this, and I think this is going to be a dumping event on them if it doesn't happen anytime sooner. Futures markets, gold is up 20%, just a little over 0.2%. Silver doing pretty good at 0.6%. And these older legacy systems like this, movements like this are pretty decent. Crude oil flatlining out at $83.18. This is going to get a little bit higher. And why is it? And this again goes with what money is, right? What is money? Crude oil during the 2008 crash was sitting at $104 a barrel in 2008. How come the price of gas was so much lower? You don't have to sit there and think too hard about it. When you think of the infinite money printing, the lack of scarcity, and the dilution of the unit of account. So now an $85 per barrel of crude oil is going to feel more like $160 for that same barrel of oil because of the destruction of the dollar. That's what inflation is. And they're trying to hide this part of the inflation because if energy gets expensive, everything else goes up too. And they're desperately trying to stop this from happening. Thank you, Rude. BRICS. The BRI. Oh, God, what the hell is the acronym? It's like I know it's for all the... Oh, yes. Brazil, Russia, India. Yeah, this is like a giant super PAC that's going off. Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting that with the way that we are now starting to be de-dollarized around the world, right? So we are as we sit there and get de-dollarized, the cost of our energy here in the United States is going to go up, right? This is a horrible aspect of things. Absolutely horrible, guys. Yo, what up, Fudweiser? He's like, what did I step in? It's like, so while everybody's sitting here and worried about what the U.S. government is or isn't doing and the political landscape, everything is basically a distraction away from the destruction of the dollar, the de-dollarization of the globe. We are looking at the Saudi Arabia are going to be decreasing the amount of oil that they're going to be producing, which if we don't start producing more oil, then our cost of having energy goes up significantly. And that's why all the US is trying to go, we're going to go ahead and ban all the gas stoves. Well, we don't produce that here. Banning it does absolutely nothing if we are relying on another country that is positioning their currency to basically take over the role of the United States, because that puts us at the mercy of them and whatever they determine our dollars are now valued at to them. Because we'll have to sit there and purchase their dollars, which will be the yuan, in order to do business. That's going to be very disastrous for the U.S. economy, especially as more countries sit there and start de-dollarizing themselves. Mexico is doing it. All these other countries, they're de-dollarizing. And the one country that's really that's popping off and doing decent right now is the one that took the Bitcoin standard, which is El Salvador, because they're not using the money that's inflating out of control. So of course, why not? If you know that the money that you're holding from another country is being inflated out of control, and there's another currency out there that isn't. And again, I'm not calling it money. I'm going to be calling it currency because that's all it is. These are all just currency wars. And once we lose here in the United States, the currency war, that will negatively impact everybody that's below a certain threshold of the new poverty line. It'll make people that were once that were once fairly wealthy poor overnight. Making $1 million a year is probably not going to be enough if the world de-dollarizes. Now, is the U.S. dollar going to go away? No. It'll just turn into the CBDC, which is what all the countries are trying to ditch right now. And during that whole proposition, you're seeing countries that go, I don't want the CBDC. And they're going to pick countries that are still using currency and not digital currency. If they go digital currency, it only makes sense to go underneath the Bitcoin standard at that point. And they will resist that. But I bet you that they'll take Bitcoin over CBDC if the countries have leadership that has half a brain. It's like BTC for the win. Yeah. So we are going to be looking at it's like founded. Yeah. So, and they haven't even released yet the numbers for our strategic oil reserve that we have. So we're still in January with the last numbers that came out. Might see another set of numbers come out at the end of this month, hopefully. I was hoping to see another month get released here, but they might be waiting now. So I believe that we might be tapering off here, but we're still dropping that strategic oil supply here. And that again is very bad. That we are dropping because as we drop the strategic oil reserve, it costs us more money to not only replenish that, but to supply it for the rest of the United States. Because we're already in debt up to our eyeballs. And having OPEC here cutting 1.2 million barrels of crude oil a day, it's more than 1% of the world's supply, in an apparent effort to increase prices. They've basically been, with the high production rate, they've been artificially keeping the prices down low. They are still up overall on oil production, guys. So sitting there and seeing $104, $105 per barrel of oil is not going to be unseen. And what that means to us is either we ramp up our own oil production so that we don't have to be dependent on it, or we're going to watch our fuel prices go up astronomically. Now, coming into summertime, not so bad of an issue, right? Not so bad. Come into the next winter, that's when we're going to start seeing it again too. Because if we're cutting back production of oil here, we're also cutting back production of natural gas. which means, dun, 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 natural gas is going to be up. That means it's going to cost you more to heat your home. Hashtag mining for the win. Use the mining rigs to heat up the home. Yo. What up, Automatic Boots? They want to force us to use electric cars. But where are they going to make the energy from it? Again, we have to have energy independence. There is no way that we can produce enough windmills and be able to maintain them here in the United States. There's no way that we have enough land here to have solar panels, enough to give enough power for the country to run on. We don't have the infrastructure for it set up to be running a pure electric system. And they shun out the one thing that would be the unlock to us having good clean energy, which would be nuclear. It's like they want to sit there and be like, oh, look at this. Well, with any technology, there's always, hey, we should never do that ever again. That led to a major accident, right? That's why cars now, back in the day, cars, if you saw a car with a seatbelt in it back in the day, it meant that car was not safe. It was so unsafe to drive that car that you needed vehicle restraint system to make sure you did not die while driving that car. It's the same thing that they're trying to do here, is that because there were a few accidents and they act like nobody can learn and try to put in infrastructure that would mitigate those issues or outright stop them all, right? So if you're sitting there and you're thinking about it from that point, it's just making sure that we're able to put the infrastructure in place, implement the technology the right way, and we're good to go. When you look at the ESG stuff and you look at all the pictures that they use for, oh, look at all these factories and all that smoke that's coming out. Those were nuclear power plants that they were looking at, and those clouds that were coming out was water. Evaporated water. That's all it was. Just saying. So, they demonized the cleanest energy production that we can implement here in the world that would be able to sustain everybody's electric needs easily. But they want to demonize it and implement technology that's over 1,000 years old. Windmills, we've been using that for decades. They used to use that stuff in grain production. Use the windmills to crush up grains. Golden Wolf, coal-fired electric supply. I know. Or gas-fired, or oil or diesel-fired. Those are my favorite one. When it's diesel energy, like you see on most islands. All these little islands that you see everywhere, they're usually running off of diesel generators. Their cost of energy is it's like astronomically high. Windmills are Roots thing. Nuclear power, yes. And they want to sit there and demonize this. And now we're going to be seeing that with our money printing that we've been doing, people. And the Saudis cutting back oil production, us cutting back oil production. We have the trifecta, guys. It is the perfect storm of what's going to break first, the money printer or the economy. And Janet Yellen is already prepared to basically pick and choose winners and losers on banks. So if you're not banking in where they believe is a safe place, like with FedNow, where you can get your CBDC, if you want to make sure that your money is safe and secure, you can use our tracking token. That's what it's going to be, people. That is what it's going to be. What up, Wheeling Crypto? He's like, I am here. I'm here. Yes, you are, my dude. So, OPEC Plus has basically been giving The United States, the cold shoulder, and the middle finger, guys. And how do I say that we've been given the middle finger? Okay, here's a revelation for you people. In Saudi Arabia, it is of high honor to shake somebody's hand. Keep that in mind whenever rewatch whenever Biden met the Saudi prince. Did he get a handshake or a fist bump? Because they don't shake the hands of people they don't like. It doesn't happen. So they got a fist bump out of the deal. That was a sign of disrespect from their culture. They are not going to play with us no more. They're just looking, we are now just another customer of theirs that owes them a lot of money. What incentive does the Saudi princes have to play ball with us? What, we're going to go back up over there and bomb the hell out of them again? Good luck on that. I don't think the people of the United States is going to sit through another round of the U.S. government playing gangbanger in the Middle East again. I mean, realistically, that's what they were doing. It's like, who made the printer? HP only works for a year before they break. Facts. Man, they got a secret freaking printer company that just like, either that they get one in and then they already order up a new one just in case. They're like, hey, we got an extra one. We just unplug it and plug the new one back in and just like hit send. They might just have a stock supply of printers and the printers just keep going burr until they can't. But as we see our energy prices go up, so will the stuff at the grocery store. This is also going to sit there and usher in something that none of us here has seen in our lifetime here in the United States. Well, maybe not. Maybe there might be a few of you guys that might have been born before the 70s, but might not have been old enough to remember, outside of hearing stories about it when he got older, with the wage freeze and the goods freeze. So in order to fight inflation, a great tactic is to make it illegal to raise your prices. Make it illegal for you to ask for a raise. These tactics have been used before. It happens anytime that you have runaway inflation, that you're trying to get the genie back into the bottle real quick. And you basically tell everybody that it is the people who are selling them the goods is the problem. Not sitting there and compensating any of those same companies going, hey, wait a minute here. It takes more dollars to buy our resources so that we can make our product. How are you telling us that we cannot raise our prices now when it's costing us more money to continue to make the same said product? How is that possible? I'm just saying. Oh God, the Restrict Act, that's a whole different creature, bro. That almost will require a whole episode of itself almost. That Restrict Act has nothing to do with TikTok. It is the Patriot Act 2.0. Let's just call it for what it is. That's more surveillance of the people, giving them the free range to be able to put you in jail for saying something that they don't agree with. Exactly, Fudweiser. Work at Walmart, your wages are frozen. Work at the government, you can vote yourself a raise every year. Every year. It's amazing. They never suffer, ever. So we're going to be I believe that we will end up seeing the government calling all people that are selling goods and services as fraudulent, and they will make it illegal to raise prices, and they will set the price for things. That will cause companies to go out of business, because there's no way that they can sit there and run a company and selling a product at a loss. At some point in time, we're going to see that, if they do that, just remember this number here, guys. This is the unemployment rate. When they introduce wage freezes and goods and service price lock-ins, this should probably turn to about 3-4 million, 20 to 30 million new uninsurance claims. Yeah, this is gonna look like child's play numbers here. We're gonna make the height of the pandemic look like nothing, and that was at 24 million uninsurance claims. How about 100 million whenever the economy crashes? Because I think at this point where we're sitting at, we're at the precipice of absolute economic meltdown. There are a lot of economics people that are signaling out there as hard as they can, going red flag, we are screwed, people. Now, us in crypto, we already know the lifeboat. And there are people out there that recognize this, people. We can actually sit there and say there are people out there that do recognize this. So, presidential hopefuls. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Ron DeSantis rally against the Fed now and the CBDC. Yes, sir. Florida has already put legislation in that the CBDC will not be allowed within the borders of Florida. Already on the books. They weren't even going to play around with this. They were like, nope, we are not putting surveillance coin into our state. People were worried about that $600. This will let them know when you purchase a pencil. Be able to stop you from transacting with a friend, to pay them to do something at your house on the side. Everything gets taxed and tracked. These things are going to be a thing that's going to be horrible. There are going to be people that are going to be okay with it. I got nothing to hide. These are the people who will quickly regret their decisions when they realize that they now purchased something and just got penalized for it. There's always those group of people that will have no problem going, oh, I got fined for this, so I just won't do that anymore. I was wrong. And they'll justify it to themselves, because in order for them to sit there and say what was done to them was wrong would mean that their prior thought pattern was also wrong. So they're not going to do that. They'll just pay the fine and then move on. That is what we have, a Democrat and a Republican, both on the same side of this. So we have a small little bipartisan agreement here between a Democrat and a Republican going, the CBDC is not a good thing. They are rallying against this. And what's kind of cool is we have Robert F. Kennedy in a tweet. He's like, the claim that the Fed now is the first step towards a CBDC would be more easily digestible were we not aware of the Biden administration's steady barrage of hostile broadsides against cryptocurrencies. Between 2008 and 2022, the Fed partnered with a handful of big banks to print 10 trillion, yes guys, 10 trillion, 10 centuries worth of wealth in 15 years, a bonanza for the banksters. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin give the public an escape route from the splatter zone when this bubble inevitably bursts. So the White House is colluding with banksters to keep us all trapped in the bubble of profiteering and control. In his February 8th post on Pirate Wire, Nick Carter described how the White House has organized banksters to participate in a sophisticated, widespread crackdown to destroy the crypto industry. Carter describes 15 incidences where the President Biden has weaponized the FDIC, OCC, and the Department of Justice to force crypto-friendly banks to close their doors to limit crypto firms since December 3rd. The recent crackdown on the crypto block exit ramps removes alternative rails and strengthens the government's control over both the financial and political systems. We should be very wary since the CBDC are the ultimate mechanism for social surveillance and control. As Balaji Servian says, the distinction between FedNow and the CBDC is important from a technical standpoint, but not from civil liberties standpoint. Balaji compares FedNow to a virus that is evolved to evade recognition by changing its sequence without really changing its function. So we are now going to be looking at a coin that we no longer can tell how many are out there. We have no way to be able to not be surveillanced. That is a damn near what the Chinese government has implemented on its people with its payment system. I don't like you. You said something I did not like. I can instantly fine you. I don't like you. You have to have this app on you. This app also has your ID in it. Watch. FedNow ID. Everything all rolled up into one app. Now you have to have it with you, which means now you have to have that track and trace app on your phone at all times. Because at any point in time, the Gestapo can sit there and stop you and ask you for your papers. I'm just saying. And if you do not have your papers, you are arrested. You might ask, hey, what about those people who don't have phones? You know, you can get a free Fed phone. I'm just saying. They will make it mandatory, people. And if you cannot afford one, they will provide one to you. You and every one of your family members. Just so that, and it'll be already impregnated with this FedNow app already on there with everything you need in a touch of a button. Nice, easy, and convenience. Yeah. So at least we have some people that understand what the hell is actually going on. Ron DeSantis, it is not merely ideal that a major change in policy receives specific authorization from Congress. It's constitutionally required. Unacceptable. Institutions cannot impose a CBDC on Americans. They will tell us that CBDCs will not be abused, but we are wise enough to know better. This is Ron DeSantis. Amazing. We have some people, like, as much as I like to dog on political people, doesn't matter what side of the freaking aisle they're on, I like to dog on them, but this is one time I see some brains being utilized. We have a Democrat and a Republican here that are both against it. It means that there are potential of brains on both sides of the aisle. It's just that 99% of them don't want to use it. And they think that ushering this in is going to be a good thing. It will backfire on them in the worst way. Because I don't see any country looking at this as a net positive if every country is issuing their own variation of the CBDC. And each one of them has their own unit of account, has their own way of storing. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, unless they sit there and they try to standardize this as a CBDC and everybody uses the same currency across the board. But at that point, why use and then what government's going to be trusted to run it? You see, that's where Bitcoin comes in, guys. This is where the Bitcoin adoption globally, people will look around and be like, if we're not using gold and silver, why are we not using Bitcoin? And instead of trusting the CBDC, that we have to trust that a dollar's worth a dollar because that this Joe Schmo over here said so. We got to bring trust into a trustless system. The trustless aspect of Bitcoin is what gives it its trust. It's like, oh my God, people verifying, people not trusting it, being skeptical of Bitcoin is what strengthens it. So there is hope for humanity. You know it. And Bitcoin is the lifeboat for the Titanic. We have hit the iceberg. The Titanic is taking on water. Bitcoin is that hope. And for anybody who's resistant to Bitcoin, I don't tell people it's Bitcoin or nothing. If you're not getting into Bitcoin, fine. Gold and silver, for the love of God. Either do God's money or do the people's money. Pick one. The government is going to rizzity wreck you guys in the long run if you don't make a choice. This is too many people raising alarm bells at this point for this not to be what's going on. Well then, I'm not so I love that argument, Fudweiser, when people say that. They're like, well, what happens if a solar flare hits us and wipes everything out? Bro, whoever's left after that solar flare is going to be set back to the Stone Age. They're going to be worried about how to make fire and where their next meal is and how to put something over the top of their head so that the sun doesn't yell at them anymore. You know, we'll basically be in the Stone Age all over again. But instead of pictures, we'll have the written word. Whenever you feel like it. Anytime is a good time to DCA into Bitcoin. Not financial advice, it's just what I do. I mean, think about it this way, Golden Wolf. If you think it's pumped now, what happens at the end of the month? It's at 40,000. Then it's cheap. So it depends on how you want to look at it. The solar issue is real. Would be like a microwave on the Earth's surface. Oh yeah. I will start a fire with a dead lithium battery. So true. SHIB to $1. Oh my God. No. Doge to $1, dude. SHIB to like, I don't know, 25 cents. So I tell people when they ask me, hey, when should I get into Bitcoin? Is this a good time to get into Bitcoin or should I wait? I tell people, I'm like, hey, if you're going to sit there and make an investment of any size and you know, hey, look, I'm going to take, you look at your finances, look at your paycheck and be like, okay, after I pay my bills, this is what I have left. I'm going to take what I have left here and this portion I'm going to save. This portion I'm putting into investing. So if your risk tolerance is 5%, so, you know, think of it that way. You know, if you're 10%, you're 10 cents on the dollar investing in at 10%. Can you handle 10 cents to the dollar? So every dollar you earn, you put aside 10 cents to put into Bitcoin. Or you could put it into gold or silver. You know, it's like, again, not financial advice. It's just like, where's your, you know, if you're set that you're going to be investing, the best thing is to figure out what your budget is and then stick to that budget and stick to a plan. Those who put in every so often at intervals do good over the course of time. I'm not a pro trader that's going to be getting in and out of markets to be able to time everything. There are times where I can call it pretty close. I've got enough knowledge to be able to do that. I've looked at traditional markets for long enough to understand when I see certain patterns occurring that It's like I've seen this one pattern 5 times. Every time it happens like this, so I would say your range is this. You know what I'm saying? But overall, people who, they get paid, they're like, hey, 10% of my paycheck goes to my investment portfolio. 5% of my paycheck goes to my investment portfolio. $20 out of every paycheck gets put into my investment portfolio. That's what you do. And you just stick to that plan. And I think to me, that's the best value proposition for dollar cost averaging. Now, if you got a little bit of a higher risk tolerance, if you want to trade, take some classes on it. Learn how to trade properly. There are a bunch of that stuff that you can do. I wouldn't say all the free courses are the right way. You'll get a better idea, but it is highly encouraged to get it from people, successful traders that can teach you a lot of the stuff that a lot of people on YouTube either don't know or they just won't teach you because they will put it behind a paywall because they know that there are certain information that allows you to perform pretty decently. And you want to know that information, you're going to pay for it. So, I mean, when it comes down to, trading overall, I don't really recommend it. Most people, it's like your best traders are out there are 65% correct. So they lose 35% of the time. Or you could sit there and put it into a fund manager and let them do the investing for you. You tell them, hey, this is my risk tolerance, and you start handing them money every paycheck, bam, bam, bam. And people who do that overall do fairly decent. I mean, if you're sitting there putting in $100 a month from the point in time that you were 20 years old, by the time you hit retirement age, you'll have a few $1,000,000 in retirement. Now, by the time you get there, will a few $1,000,000 be worth anything? Who the hell knows at this point? But I mean, it adds up quick, right? Putting it into investments that pay dividends. That is always, for traditional finance, if I'm going to invest something into it long term, I want it to pay dividends. I want to know that my investment is growing with the company. To me, that's that's an awesome idea, right? If I'm investing $100 into it and I'm earning 7% dividends back on it, your 7% back is doing good, but you're not outpacing inflation. So keep that in mind, that you will have to put in more money to be able to help outpace inflation. Only way to do this. Most investing, you're not outpacing inflation by any means. That's why people want to be in uncorrelated assets, things that are not correlated to inflation. And people would look at gold and silver being in that category, and I look at Bitcoin being in that category also. Even though there is correlations, we do see gold, silver, and Bitcoin moving at the same time the legacy markets move. So it's take it with a grain of salt that you're only protecting yourself to a point. You will see market movements. It's just that the rebound on actual money will come back faster. And historically, people do better with gold and silver. And then historically, as Bitcoin came out, Bitcoin's been doing amazing for people too. Like, yes, they definitely suppressing info that the Saudis said, F that fiat dollar. Yeah, you know it. And the U.S. government wants to downplay this, and they want to put a nice spin on the Saudi fist bump because they don't shake the hands of corrupt individuals. Remember, the Saudi prince shook Trump's hand. The Saudi prince did not shake Biden's hand. Makes you think. So does anybody have any comments or questions before I head up out of here? I got one other article to go over, guys. So it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, oh, wow, at the same time, right? Bitcoin ordinals. Community debates fix after inscription validation bug. Yo. So all the Bitcoin ordinals were supposed to be validated in one block. I believe that's how it was supposed to be. But a bug was found in the ordinals protocol that caused 1,200 inscriptions that should have been validated to not get included. These first of these orphan inscriptions happened just before the inscription number 420,285 block number. The bug was caused by the ordinal protocol only counting certain indexes. So now we have a whole bunch of them that are going to be of the orphan variety. So there is a fix for it. They currently have 1,206 hidden inscriptions that are not included due to the issue going on. So now they're talking about not including it. They wanted to bring it back and redo this, but it's like the block numbers wouldn't be right. So as it sits right now, if they do just release these, fix the bug on it, these can be officially released in the protocol, but it would be up to the market to value them as misprints or not. And sometimes the misprints are more valuable, actually. So if you're able to get your hands on one of these, it might be worth more money. Again, I don't believe in the whole aspect of the Bitcoin ordinals. Not my thing. But Rude, what's for dinner today? I think chicken. I think we're gonna have some chicken today. Gonna have some buck. So I'm not really huge on the Bitcoin ordinals, but if you guys are following this stuff, there are 1,200 orphans misprints. It's like, no. Golden Wolf, leave them baby chickies alone. They're not meat birds. They're egg birds. It's like they need to grow a bit. Nah, the Easter egger chickens is what the unofficial breed on them. They're not really good meat birds. There are better meat birds out there that will grow within 16 weeks and be ready to slaughter in 16 weeks. And they will put a whole lot more meat on their bones. So I'll be doing, of the meat bird variety more than likely, because I see it's thawed out in a refrigerator right now. Multicolored eggs. Not so much like multicolored eggs. They'll do like light blues, light greens, tans, and whatever color they lay first is the color egg they will always lay. So depending on what the mix, because like Easter eggers are the mutts of chickens, so it's always a surprise of which color they're going to particularly lay out. But it doesn't change anything on the inside of it. So does anybody else have any other comments or questions, guys, before I head up out of here? Anything at all? Anything at all, fellas. Otherwise, if you don't have any other comments or questions, certainly smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you haven't done so already, links down below. I have a link to the Discord. Love to have you part of the community. It is free to join the community, guys. If you want to have your rigs hosted with us over at the Family Mine, certainly join the Patreon. Links down below, guys. That will basically ensure that you have a spot on our shelves with your rigs. So the VIP people get the entrance into the facility with their rigs before the general public. We're just waiting on basically contracts from the electric company. As soon as that comes back in, we're signing everything. We're moving forward, and we're going to have a 0.5 megawatt worth of power, guys. Amazing stuff, guys. So if you guys are looking forward to that, certainly check all that stuff out, because you guys are rated F for frickin' awesome. Yo! And with that being said, also, when I end this, please, guys, click off on one of the YouTube suggested videos before clicking off of this, because it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, fellas. All of you guys that have been participating, it has been making a tremendous difference. So thank you, everybody that participates in this aspect of it. Thank you very much. And with that being said, peace out. Stay savage. May your watts be low, your hash be high, and I'll see you on the next one.